What's up, ladies and gents, Noli here, and welcome to another Payday 2 video. It always feels really good getting those words off my chest, you know? It's been a really long time since my last video. Those of you may or may not know, I am back at uni. It's a slightly different recording setup. It's all set up now and ready to record, but I'm right by a window, so if you hear any big vehicles go past, I'm very sorry. Not a massive amount I can actually do about that right now, but as I was saying, Payday 2 and myself, we're both back. The housewarming party is upon us, and that's exactly why I'm back, because even for someone like me who has put well over 1,000 hours into the game and absolutely adores it, it can still lose my interest over time, and it needs the influx of new content to keep me interested and keep me wanting to make videos, and that's exactly what this is. The housewarming party is akin to the previous Crime Fest we've seen, and it's going to contain 10 massive updates, all coming at us day after day, which is immensely exciting. And as I always say, October is the new year sort of season for Payday. You know, it's the content season wherein we get Crime Fest, or this is the renamed Crime Fest, and then we have October coming up, and then just following that, or soon after that, we have the big Christmas update. So 2 massive updates and 1 huge set of updates all coming at us at the same time, and that's exactly what we see here, and there's a lot to be excited for within the Payday community, and especially for me to be privileged enough to make videos on it. So as you can see, this is the website here. Take a look at the link down in the description below for that one, and there's another link containing the video, which while you can find it here, might be easy just to watch straight onto YouTube. It's definitely worth a watch, by the way. Really recommend it. It gives you a fair bit of background and context for what's going on with the housewarming party idea. You know, you can sort of see in the background, you've probably worked it out. Hoxton has set fire to the old safe house for whatever reason. I guess he really was that fed up of it. And we're going to be getting a brand new one. A new character is introduced, Hoxton's butler, which we'll take a look at down below in just a second, whom I could not be more excited for, personally. And finally, Overkill makes a joke at themselves right at the end. Keep watching to the end. Wait for the drill black market joke. It's well worth the wait. It's good to see Overkill are willing to do that now. It's of course the anniversary of the big microtransaction palaver. I think Overkill is still very aware of that. They got a lot of negative community feedback. I think negative is putting it lightly, and they also got a lot of negative press. And I think that might have something to do with why we're not seeing a Crime Fest again this year, and instead we're getting a update named differently with a slightly different, more streamlined, less community-orientated formula, though it is a community event. Anyway, yeah, they Overkill are aware of it, they're making jokes about it, and in this year's update, one of the days, we get a brand new safe, but I don't think anyone's going to complain. Overkill's come a long way in this past year in sorting out the communication issues between their community and themselves, and as such, we've seen so many of those problems sorted, and the release of it this year is just, oh cool, some nice looking brand new themed cosmetics. And that's something to be excited for, not something to be angry or disappointed about. So as I said, it is a 10-day update starting today, the 7th of October. I'm recording this on the morning. We're going to have a look through all the days. It's quite easy to speculate this year on what we're going to get. I remember last year I was so far off, it was actually embarrassing. But hopefully this year I'll be a little bit closer in my speculation. Let's introduce Hoxton though, the brand new butler character, who, as I said, I couldn't be more excited for because he is voiced by the one and only Cleese. If you go on this website, click through all those voice lines, they are hilarious. His voice is just naturally funny. He is a comedian at heart, and he portrays that perfectly. And he's so British. You think I'm British? I'm nothing compared to Cleese. Welcome home, sir. Hoxton, starring the one and only Cleese, has arrived in Washington to take care of the Payday gang. He'll make sure that the new safe house is tidied up between heists, just like a butler should. Cleese brings Hoxton to life with his classic voice and British humour, and we're ever so glad to have him as a part of the game. His voice acting is second to none. He's done a lot of video game voice acting. I'm sure many of you will recognise him from his roles in Elder Scrolls games, especially, is what springs to mind. He's been brilliant in those, and he's just got a fantastic tone to his voice. I personally more so know him for his work within Monty Python. I'm sure many of you will as well. While it's getting a bit dated, I still absolutely adore that style of comedy, and that's again what he brings to Payday 2, and he executes it perfectly. I'm so glad, so glad that Payday have been able to attract this star power. I mean, you can tell Overkill are doing pretty well financially if they're bringing in guys like John Cleese and like Ron Perlman to voice act and play the characters within the game. So it's brilliant, really brilliant. I couldn't be happier that the new safe house is going to have something entering alongside it, and they've sort of hit this character right on the head. Anyway, let's take a look at day 1. Starting off today, it is some brand new difficulties, and we actually knew these were coming out. We weren't sure in what capacity they were coming, but I should be able to give you guys who don't know a fair bit of insight into what we're getting with these new difficulties. First of all, this is the part I'd say I'm maybe most excited for over the entire update, just because it's going to give the game a lot of additional life. Adding new difficulties is the reason Death Wish was added, remember? It creates new challenges, especially there are going to be 2 new difficulties coming out, as we can see from the achievements that have been updated on Steam a couple of days ago, I believe. But as I was saying, it adds new challenges, it adds new rewards, and those are 2 very important things to keeping a game fresh and alive. It makes every single heist in the game different, so it's much better than adding just a heist on day 1. I'm slightly confused. There is a new heist coming, but it's all the way at day 10. I feel like maybe they should have added that a bit sooner, but I guess they want to spread the content, or the big content releases, out over all the days. So there are 2 new difficulties coming, Mayhem and One Down, I believe. Mayhem is, from what I can sort of infer, there has been, for quite a while, there's been a harder difficulty out for Payday 2. It is accessible. It's a tournament difficulty. It's a difficulty they made to make the tournament version of the Slaughterhouse, which has of course been played all over the world at different conventions, to make it a little bit harder. It's of course a speed run, and by throwing a ton of enemies at you, it is a manic difficulty. They make it very difficult to speed run Slaughterhouse, and they actually make it sort of something worth playing for to earn some prize money, because really the prize money was pretty ridiculous for just completing a Payday 2 heist. So that's what I assume we're getting here, maybe a modified version of the that particular tournament difficulty known as Mayhem. So do expect it to be harder than Death Wish, primarily because they throw more enemies at you. And then One Down, I think, is exactly what they say on the tin. I think it's probably going to be the hardest difficulty in any Payday ever of the 2 that have been released. It's gonna be difficult, is what I'm trying to get across. I'm guessing it just means that you're only allowed to go down either once, or if you do go down, you are just dead. So it's a sort of survival hardcore mode. I don't know what difficulty it's going to be playable on. I don't know if you're going to be able to choose your One Down difficulty, or whether it's just going to be automatically on Death Wish or Mayhem. We'll have to wait and see for that, but this one sounds truly brutal. Remember, some of the hardest achievements in the game involve never getting down, so try completing all the heists in the game without ever getting down. Next up, we have the new safe house on day 2. This is sort of the meat of the update. I suppose it's what Payday have chosen to advertise with. That's when we get our new John Cleese character, as well as the new safe house, so I'm very excited for that on the 8th. Day 3, we have a new mass pack. Always nice to see new masks in the game. They have to fill these updates out with sort of the smaller content on occasional days. It says a mass pack, so we can assume 2 to 4 masks will be released. I don't know whether it's going to have this sort of noir theme, or whether this is just an example of one of the 4 masks we're going to be getting. Day 4 is a new throwable, another one I'm really excited about. I think since they added the sort of staple throwables like the Molotov and the Dynamite, I think Overkill have really struggled to find other viable throwables for loud heists, and I think they might have finally done it here with the shock grenade, as you can see here. It's either going to be some form of EMP, or it's going to be a taser effect game. So they added the taser effect to melee weapons a little while ago, and I assume this grenade is going to do exactly that, but in an area of effect. To make it more viable than the Molotov, I hope they make it quite a wide area of effect. Again, this is just speculation. I could be completely wrong. It could just be like a flashbang, but in some way I assume this throwable is going to incapacitate groups of enemies. Day 5 is the new safe I mentioned earlier. It's going to be a Hoxton themed safe, I assume, but do not fear. No money, no purchasing of drills needs to be done for these new safes. You just have to play the game to find them. open them up and you get brand new cosmetics for doing so. Day 6, we get a new enemy. We've not had a new, well, what we assume here is going to be a humanoid enemy in a very long time. And it's going to be, from what we can tell from the cross, a medic style of enemy. Now, I don't know how they are going to balance this particular class out. They could end up making it far too powerful or far too weak very, very easily. I don't know whether they're going to be sort of doing an active heal on targets. I don't imagine that's going to be massively effective. Or whether they're going to be some form of revive mechanic. We'll have to wait and see, but I'm really excited for that. Not only are we getting harder difficulties, but we're getting more varied, interesting enemies. They go hand in hand and make the game far more interesting for the next months to come. Put on your war face. This is another set of masks. I don't know if these are potentially, seeing Chains' mask here, going to involve some form of character mask pack. Don't know. Another 2 to 4 mask pack, though, we should assume. Day 8 is another really exciting one. We have Mutators coming out. For those of you who've been around on the channel a while or just know a reasonable amount about modding within Payday 2, an early review of a mod I made was Goon Mod. It hadn't been out for a very long back then, and it was actually quite a controversial one because it was very much so associated with cheating, which has been prevalent within the PC community of Payday for a really long time. But what it did was, one part of what it did, I should say, is it actually allowed you to make certain heists, or in fact make every heist, difficult or in some cases easier, but different. You know, it could allow you to be swarmed by an absolute ton of tasers to where you just got stunned to death. And these sort of wacky modifiers were really fun to play around with. They were actually integrated really well into the game by Goon Mod. I hope that Overkill have done the right thing and they are crediting the original sort of bringers of this idea. And I also hope that they are willing to take some of their ideas, but also expand on them, make them crazier, and sort of make them a little more stable, I suppose. Make it so it feels right and less like a modification. Day 9, we get a brand new weapon, some new shotgun, I assume, based on the image, something that goes boom, a new boom stick, maybe some form of sawn-off shotgun with ridiculous spread. That could be really fun to play around with. Finally, day 10, we get the new heist. Like I said, it was right at the end. Don't know why I didn't bring this out a little bit sooner. I feel like it might have fit in with the new difficulties a little bit better, but hey, it's only, 9 days away from today, so we get the return of a classic. Now, I'm not sure what heist this is going to be. We assume it's going to be a Payday the heist. I'm sure the image gives something away, but nothing is springing to mind to me right now. I'll tell you what, I'd love to see Heat Street, but I don't anticipate it will be that one. If you guys have any idea what heist you think this is, and if you also have any other ideas about these daily updates that I've missed out, let me know in the comments down below. Let me know if you're excited and feel like Overkill is going about this the right way. Are you slightly disappointed there's not more community interaction this time around? Of course, they added those party hats, which were being given away by big community members. I guess that was a degree of community interaction. And do you think Overkill is sort of trying to stray away from their mistakes last year, or do you think they're sort of tackling them head on? I'm kind of split on that one. They keep referencing them in sort of little jokes, but they're also being very careful not to mention them outright. So it's interesting. I expect this year's version of Crime Fest to be fantastic. It seems really nicely streamlined and well made by Payday. By Overkill, I should say. A lot of exciting content coming to the game, and don't forget, like I said, the new season of Payday starts today. This is when all the updates come out, and this is when you guys should reinstall the game if you don't have it and get to playing it. I'm excited. Hope you guys are too. See you later on when we try out some of those new difficulties.